Okay, this is the tail of the fox. You can see it's gutted. I'm going to tell you why, or show you how this thing works, and tell you why these things are so hard to build. That's the switch that operates it. It's in the thumb. It's slow going, but you can see what it's doing right now. That motor's screaming. It automatically shuts off because it's got these switches here. They're micro switches on this either side. Those are the relays that drive it. Reason why that thing's got to be that powerful and that slow, unfortunately. You can see it right here. That's all brass right there. There's 2 steel cables with 8 vertebrae. That's called the load spring. I'm going to bring it back up again to show you how this load spring works. What happened was the cable broke on me. That's these guys right here. Now watch that load spring. There's another load spring here. In case the kid grabs it and pulls it to the side, you can see right here. There's also a clutch inside that thing. Keep the tail erect. With all that padding, you can see the vertebrae right here. Tie straps, anything I can lay my hands on. You can see the spring being loaded. You shut. It works. That's the brass bushing there. What it does when it unwinds fully, I can bring the tail between my legs and literally sit on it. This thing here is approximately over 8 inches long. It's 10 total. Motor is gear reduction, and wish I had a little more power and a little more speed to be great, but that is a little more weight. The rest of it goes inside the tail, and then I can conform that rod there. This is the strap that straps around your waist. This goes underneath and straps up against the waist. In other words, between your legs here. You need the support. This is the plug right here. That way I can detach the tail out of the suit for easy service. See? Wobbly, ain't it? It folds up pretty tight. Now if you want to build one yourself, these vertebrae are about 1 inch long. You can see all the parts in there that's involved. In other words, go for it, baby. This right here, the material is real thin, so they can't be seen through the fur. But it's conformed to the shape of my body. And here's the battery pack. Homemade. These are rechargeable NiCads. About 10 of them all together. You need the power. This is a plate that prevents, I call it the sweat plate, because this is against my stomach. I use standard 9-volt battery jacks. The 9 or 10 volts output on that side is for the tail light that flashes in the back of the Fox, and this is the 13 volt side here for the power drive. There's the 2 relays, forward and reverse. And those are the micro switches inside there on either side. you need a stop switch. If you don't have the stop switch, this thing will continue and it'll just tear it up. Motor is just simply secured with super glue and using ordinary stitching thread, industrial stitching thread that is. These are made in Japan and they're all steel construction. I tried using other motors. Unfortunately, they're plastic in the inside and they just simply sheared. It takes a lot of power. It's about almost 200 pounds per square inch at this base of the tail right here. Just pulling strength. I'm going through cables like you wouldn't believe. And they snap. I think in the last year or so I had replaced the cables on this thing about twice already. In other words, if I had the right materials, this tail would be low maintenance, but right now it's mediocre maintenance. I'm using heavier cable this time. I found it in a bike shop, and so far it seems to be alright. I just got through replacing the other tail with it. That's the loading spring. You need that. Another loading spring. You can't have anything rigid or you'll break the base. This is all welded drill rod actually. This is regular seatbelt material here with Velcro. So everything's pretty well hid. The battery pack is on the Velcro itself, goes around my waist. And with the fur it hides it pretty good. But on my suits they're kind of pretty well thin built. It looks like I got some abs there. But now the wire in this thing here is phone line. Robbed from a phone, in other words, the curlicue part of the cord. I can't find it in bulk, so I've been robbing it off of phone lines. It's the only kind of wire that can be constantly bent back and forth, constantly oscillated and not break. If I can find that stuff in rolls, it'd be great. But so far I've been robbing phones because you need it. Because I had this thing built years ago. Every time I got out of the suit I had to replace all the wiring in it because of the action right here. It was going back and forth. Now I don't have that problem. But to find the right materials, almost next to impossible. Nobody knows what it is on the computer. They also call it cotton core. That means this copper wire wrapped around a cotton center. That way it can take the abuse. And so far it's holding up. This wire here ain't, because it's pretty well rigid against the body. But right in here is the cotton core. It goes up to here, then into standard wire. Because this line here don't move. But this line right here moves constantly. You can see the steel cable here. It's about roughly 3/4 to 7/8 of an inch from the center. And everything has to be real flexible. Hope that does it for you, folks. This goes into, I can pull this out and it can go into many fox suits. Not just one, but any suit I got, because these things take forever to build. It took me 6 months just to fabricate this miserable thing. And to find the materials, my electronics place closed up, so no more relays. If you care to build it, these are brass eyelets right here. Actually a bolt I had flattened and I drilled holes into it. And everything's on a swivel. You need it to be on a swivel. There's about 8 parts per vertebrae here. There's about 8 of them altogether, and then plus the 2 main body supports. All this is hidden inside the tail, and the tail's bulk hides the whole thing. So in a foxtail it's great. In a husky it'd be alright. Just cut this metal part here off. You just have this piece on here. And it actually will work great for a skunk's tail. You can lift it up. To make it go a little faster, you need a little more speed. With that, you need a bigger motor and a whole lot more battery. Some kind of governor between those two.